In this video, we're going to be doing an overview of the inferences of two proportions and their formulas. So, for tests of hypotheses made about two population proportions, we consider only tests having a null hypothesis of P1 equaling P2, or P1 minus P2 equaling 0. The requirements for testing the claim about two population proportions are: 1. The sample proportions are from two simple random samples that are independent, and 2. For each of the two samples, the number of successes is at least 5 and the number of failures is at least 5. That is, n times p is greater than or equal to 5 and n times q is greater than or equal to 5 for each of the two samples. So let's look at the first formula for the test statistic for two proportions, which is z equals this whole thing here. And what each thing means is off to the side here. So for population 1, with the subscript of 1, P1 being the population proportion, N1 being the sample size, X1 being the number of successes, and P hat 1 equaling X1 over N1. Then we also have population 2, which is the exact same thing, except the subscript is 2 for each of them, but it still follows the exact same thing that the population 1 follows. The only thing you need to be mindful of is over here, which is P bar, the little line up top, which is equal to X1 plus X2 over N1 plus N2, and then Q bar, which is just 1 minus P bar. And that's what these individual ones right here are. It's not just one line, it's hard to see, but there is a gap in between. It's P bar, Q bar, P bar, Q bar for each one. Next, we have the confidence interval, which is just going to be P hat 1 minus P hat 2, then minus the margin of error, and then P hat 1 minus P hat 2 plus the margin of error. And so if you also need to get the margin of error, E, we have the formula right here, which is just the critical value of Z times the square root of all this, which again, what each thing means is given up top from before. Everything right up here. Now these are the formulas that you can use to get the test statistic and the confidence interval, but you can also get these by using your calculator. So when you're doing the hypothesis test, you can use a 2-prop z-test, and from there you can actually get the test statistic z. And when doing the confidence interval, you can just use 2-prop z-int, because that will give you the confidence interval. So whether by formula or by calculator, you can get both of those by either the formula or the calculator, depending on what you think is easiest.